Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and to a first of a kind for me. I am doing my review, my highlight of Gamercon 17 in Dublin. This is a little bit of a controversial subject, I have to say, because there are people who loved Gamercon and there are people who hated Gamercon. Now, I didn't go for the whole weekend. I just went for the Sunday because it was St. Patrick's weekend. Trying to get hotels to stay over and things like that was very, very difficult. I left it a little bit too late to book those tickets. So I only went for the Sunday and I travelled up actually at 5:30 in the morning on the bus up there. Saturday, from what I can gather and from what I've seen and from a friend that went on Saturday, was an absolute disaster, certainly in the morning. People were queuing outside for hours and hours and hours to get inside the venue. Some people didn't even make it inside the venue. So there were families with kids who were very upset and very disappointed. There were people who got inside the venue who were very upset and very disappointed because setup didn't go according to plan and things weren't in place that were meant to be in place. So my best friend and her two boys, 24 and 17, went up to Gamercon for the whole weekend in actual fact, and they didn't go on the Sunday because they were so disappointed. They were outside in a queue for 2.5 hours, and when they got inside there was a lot of things that should have been set up that weren't there, and they ended up leaving within half an hour, 40 minutes. From what I can gather from the research, the venue holds 7,000 people, which isn't a small amount of people, but Gamercon sold 25,000 tickets per day, and the number of VIP tickets, in my opinion, was way, way too high. I'm just flashing up images on the screen from things that, in little stills from the videos and stuff that I put up, that I took while I was there. So that's what you're seeing now, and I'm going to go more into depth with that in a minute. I know this introduction is taking a while, but I just want to get across the issues that they were having and the problems that occurred. So they sold 25,000 tickets and they were banking on people going in, doing what they wanted to do, coming away, doing something else, and then going back in later. Now, anyone that knows us gamers and knows how we like to get our nerd on is gonna know that that isn't going to work. We are going to get inside that venue and we are going to stay inside that venue for as long as we humanly possibly can, right? So they really oversold the tickets, and again, the VIP tickets, only people with a VIP ticket could go and see AliA. We were in a queue. AliA was on floor 5. We were all the way down on floor 3. And we had moved about 6 spaces in about 30 minutes. We ended up leaving the queue and going seeing other gamers. Everyone in that queue had a VIP ticket. So they sold way too many of them. Having said all that, I had a blast while I was there. I really did enjoy it. Everything was in place by the time I got there on Sunday. The people were lovely. Everybody was awesome. So I am going to start throwing up highlights now of what happened, and I will probably be talking over some of them as they occur, simply because you need to know what's going on. Now, I apologise for my poor cameramanship. This is the first time I have ever done a video like this. I left it way too late to pick up the camera and start learning how to use it. Could not get the autofocus to work. So I am doing my best and I apologise, but I will be probably giving some witty commentary over the top. So please stick around, watch what happened, and I will see you guys at the end. And here we are, guys, just about to enter into Gamercon. Now, I am doing the audio separately because it was so noisy there, you just could not hear me talking. And I do apologise for the shaky camera. As I said, I'm just getting used to it, so we will see you inside. And guys, here we are in the first area that you come to as you went up the stairs. The camera is very, very bad. Like I said, I'm still getting used to it, guys. I do apologise, but there were loads of computer games around here that we hopped on and played. Like, that was the mixed console, so we came back to those a little bit later, but we hopped on the PCs, and even like the area we went to was meant to be a mature over 18s area, and my 14-year-old just walked in, which is a little bit concerning, other than the fact that I was with her and I had given her permission to play those games. So there was a lot of games, they've been out a while, but I hadn't played them and my daughter hadn't played them either, and it was like, well, we'll give them a go and we'll see. So we were having to go on CSGO and a few other like Battlefield and a few things like that. There were some first look PlayStation games on the floor below that we went to a little bit later on. But we were just hopping on and off the different machines and trying things out. And there was a League of Legends tournament just starting in the background. I watched some of the commentary for that. And then we were kind of listening to the play, listening to how people were getting on and stuff as we were wandering around and playing on the computer consoles. And we probably spent a good 35-40 minutes just in this first room, just getting our bearings and learning what was going on and things like that. And my daughter was so impressed with the way that people were playing League of Legends that she created herself an account on one of the PCs there and had a quick go on that, and she's planning on giving that a go and playing that a little bit more. So yeah, just basically what you would expect from a gaming convention, in that there was loads of machines available for you to play on, and you know, most of them were full. You did have to wait in a queue, and as soon as one became available they let you on, but I think we were waiting like 5 minutes, seriously, that was it. So, and then I played 3 or 4 different games in that space of time just to get a taster and see what I thought. And I'm not one for first person shooters. I don't like first person shooter games, and yet I found myself gravitating towards the first person shooter games because people were having so much fun playing them that it made me want to have a go. The staff knew what they were doing. If you were struggling, if you didn't know what you were doing, they were quite prepared to stand behind you and give you a hand and get you started. Very, very polite, very, very happy. They seemed to be enjoying doing what they were doing. So all in all, that first room really was quite a good impression. I'm just going to throw up some of the commentary from the League of Legends. Again, the quality is not that good, but you can hear what they say, and it just gives you a rough idea that, you know, it was the opening stages, and they had a tournament going on all day where the teams were just pitting themselves against each other, and there was an overall winner at the end. I didn't stick around to see who won at the end because I was too busy with all the other stuff that was going on, but you know, you can pop back in and out of that room at any point and see what's going on, where they're up to. So I really did. I thought it was a great introduction for the first room. And here we are with the commentary, guys. Now I know the quality is bad, like I keep apologizing for that. I wanted to do this video even though that the video that I took wasn't that great, just because I wanted to highlight what fun I had and, you know, what was available in case any of you guys want to go next year. I'm not really a League of Legends fan, in all honesty, but I wanted to include this more because you can see that the guys that are there commentating really know what they're talking about. They've studied the game and they see things that are going on in the game that I wouldn't even recognise, and that's why I've included this clip. So I will see you when it's over.
Getting killed every now and then. You need to play that little bit further back, because if you remember, he was actually beaten by the Ezreal card.
Yeah, so the Kazakh's locked in. So the second ban phase coming in now. Not going to be getting his hands onto that one. Rumble has then, again, has always been in and around the meta as a kind of a fringe pick, a high carry, but now he's definitely coming back as kind of like, you know, super high priority, very high DPS, especially if you go with something like to keep it down.
So generally it's picked into tanks as a carry because it's really easy for you to sit on top of the flame flitter, plus you rush the Leandry so it burns through the health extremely quickly. Nice to get rid of that in bad phase too.
And here we are, guys, with our first look at the VR. This is us in the queue waiting to go and see it. We were waiting probably about 40 to 45 minutes to get on the VR, but it was well worth the wait. And we're just about to clip into me recording some people actually using it. I wasn't close enough to record my daughter playing it, and she was on the VR at the same time as I was, so we couldn't even record me playing it, which was a shame. But having said that, the VR, what can I say about the VR? I enjoyed it, but okay, you've got the goggles on your head, and obviously you need the goggles on your head to be able to see what is going on. The room was really warm and I was wearing a coat, to be fair, but I found I got really hot while I was playing, like sweaty hot. And also I do suffer a little bit from motion sickness. Now I had taken motion sickness tablets for the trip down on the coach to Dublin. I don't usually need them, in all fairness, for a coach journey, but we had just literally eaten and run through the door. So when we got up in the morning, I knew that was going to happen and I took the tablets anyway. By the time I got off the VR, and I was on there less than 10 minutes, guys, like less than 10 minutes. By the time I got off, I felt really queasy. There were a few times when I was on the VR and I was using the machine that as I was swinging around, I was playing some, I don't even know what the name of the game was that I was playing. They didn't tell me, and they didn't tell me the controls. They just said, well, you move forward like this, you move forward like that. We don't know how to shoot, just smash the buttons. Was basically what they told me, which wasn't very informative, let's say, but I did manage to figure it out. I sucked at playing the game, but I managed to figure it out. And I was chasing down ships and blowing them up before they blew me up. That's what I had to do. And as you are swinging around in different directions, moving forwards and backwards was fine. But when I was moving around in different directions and I was doing 360s and stuff, I did start to feel very, very dizzy. Not to the point that I was going to pass out and I needed to take it off and say, guys, I can't handle this, but I was certainly feeling dizzy. I think if you don't suffer from motion sickness, it's going to be an absolutely awesome addition to your arsenal of gaming gadgets. It really, really is. And I think it's one of those things that if I used it more and got used to it, and I was playing a game where I wasn't throwing myself around in circles so much, you know, maybe Resident Evil or something like that, I think Resident Evil on it is going to be absolutely awesome. I really do think it's going to be awesome, and I do want to get one, and I do want to use it. I think my daughter will use it more than me, but I would definitely use it for Resident Evil, and I would put up with feeling sick and only using it for half an hour at a time if that's what I needed to do. But it was awesome, and I really, really loved it, despite the fact that I was feeling a bit queasy when I came off. It only took about 10 minutes for it to settle back down again, in all fairness, and I think the heat of the room didn't help. It's certainly something I would do again, and I really, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was well worth the queue. So not long after we jumped off the VR, we headed up to a panel of 4 YouTubers. Now, I'm trying to remember who all was there. There was Jerome, there was Uberdanger, AliA, and his girlfriend Clare Siobahn. They were the guys that were there up on stage and chatting. I'm just going to let the footage speak for itself because they really were a lot of fun, and they grabbed loads of kids, well, not loads, they grabbed 2 kids to come up on stage and play games with them and stuff. There's no point me trying to explain what was going on. You can clearly hear what was going on, so I'm just going to let the footage there talk for itself, and then I will be right back with you.
Do you have an idea who you're going to go for Uberdanger?
I have a slight idea.
Is this a callback to yesterday, possibly?
Yes.
If you were here yesterday, it was very entertaining. Okay, so where are we going to go for?
I will fight anywhere, anytime.
Go underground.
Yeah, go for it. The bear's pretty cool. Jude, you got this, man. Seeds match, is it?
Yeah.
Alright. Oh, I wonder who Uberdanger's gonna pick. Oh, stage select again? We're going underground again.
I don't think I have any control over it.
Here we go. Oh god, he looks scary.
I think I'm just...
He's the strongest guy?
Pick this one.
So Zangief versus Chun-Li.
Your guy looks a bit more powerful than me.
I don't know. We know what Chun-Li does. Here we go. Who we rooting for?
Still AliA.
How he's not playing? Fight! Come on, here we go.
Yes.
This seems familiar. Yeah. It's the ground move, that's all he does. No! Come on, Jude, you got it, you got it, you got it.
I'm sorry, I'll stop doing that now. I will use another move.
That's round 1 done. Best of 3.
Round 2.
And just back away. Yes! Come on, Zangief. Oh, this one's a lot closer. Yes! One last little bit of help. Yeah! Last round.
Final round. Fight.
The special tactic?
Pressing all the buttons.
I just love the honesty of it. Special tactic, what is it? Just pressing all the buttons. Oh man. This is actually quite tight, this one. Oh, that was a good one. It's the ground stuff. Just don't let him get close on the ground. Look, he's just dancing around. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yes! Yes! No, God, so close! Regardless, everybody give you a round of applause! That was a tight battle, that was close. Absolutely amazing. Daniel, Jude, thanks so much for coming, and thank you so much for coming up on stage. Congrats, everybody give them a round of applause, come on.
Awesome. Big because we are going to be letting the guys go off to meet and greets because you're all very excited to go close to person and get those photos, right?
And so guys, right after this is when we headed off to the meet and greet, and this is where the lack of organisation really showed itself. Like, they'd ironed out a lot of problems from the day before, but this was still a huge issue. So we joined the queue where they told us, where the app told us we needed to be, and then there was an announcement, no, if you want to see AliA, that's up on floor 5. So we ran all the way to floor 5. They're like, nope, you can't come in here, you need to go to floor 4. We went down to floor 4. Nope, you need to go down to floor 3. The queue within 5 minutes stretched from floor 5 all the way down floor 4, all the way down to floor 3. And every single one of those people had a VIP ticket because it was VIP only to do the meet and greets, right? So that's why you bought your VIP ticket. Was 1, it was fast entry into the venue, and 2, it allowed you to meet your YouTubers, right? The queue would have taken about 3 hours. I'm not kidding. There were people in that queue for 3 hours, and we were waiting there probably about 40 minutes. And I said to my daughter, do you really want to stand around and wait this long? I know he's awesome. I know you want to meet him, but do you really want to? And she said, let's give it 10 minutes and see how far we've moved, and then we'll decide. After 10 minutes, we've moved maybe 5 meters. Maybe 5 meters. She was like, do you know what, Mum? Let's just go and meet his girlfriend and a couple of the others, and then we'll go and play some more games and jump on the Razor bus and things like that. So I was like, okay. So off we went downstairs and jumped in the queue to see his girlfriend, Claire. Because that's another one. I would watch her Skyrim videos, and Freya likes her Pokemon Go and her Skyrim videos as well. So we headed on down and we jumped in her queue. We were waiting there probably about 30 minutes as well. And the queue didn't look like it was that long, but because it wasn't that long, she was actually taking time to talk to people. So we were halfway up in her queue, and I noticed that Uberdanger's queue was empty. Like, everyone had seen him. Jerome had already left at that point, and I was like, well, let's jump over. We'll jump over and meet Uber, and then we'll pop back in to see Claire. So my daughter stayed in the queue, and I jumped over and spoke to Uber, and he was so much fun. He was really, really nice, guys, like really funny. I'm just going to insert a photo now, actually, of me meeting him, and you get to see my face, which is awful. I know I still need to lose weight, so don't judge too harshly. But there's a photo of me seeing him, and then followed on probably by the photo of me seeing Claire. So I had a good chat with him and got him to sign my phone case, and he was having a laugh and a joke, the way you do. I popped back in to see Claire, and my daughter went over to see Uber, and she was chatting to him as well. She was chatting about League of Legends because she'd taken an interest and things like that. Then we got up to see Claire, and she was so sweet, guys. Like, really is so down to earth, so lovely, so sweet. And the first thing she picked up on is, you don't have an Irish accent. And I was like, no, I don't have an Irish accent. And she's saying to my daughter, oh, you sound like you're from the south. Like, Ali would be from the south of England as well. I said, well, she was actually born in the Midlands area. And she was like, oh, right, yeah, I know the place, because we were talking about where she was born. And she said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from South Manchester. And she said, oh, well, I'm from Leeds, just over the Pennines. And we spent quite a while talking about that. And then I was talking about Skyrim videos and how much I enjoyed them and things like that, and Pokemon Go and how, whether we'd caught any second gen ones and how many we'd caught while we were in Dublin. I think she probably spent about 10 minutes talking to us. I'm not kidding. She really did take her time. She signed my phone case as well, and I got a lovely photo with her. She looks stunning. I don't, but she looks absolutely stunning. My daughter got photos with her as well, and it was well worth the wait to meet them. They were just, both of them, so down to earth, so lovely. Like, really kind with the time and things like that. It didn't seem like it was a chore for them to meet us. It felt like it was a pleasure for them to meet us, and that they felt that we were doing them the favour, not the other way around. That's how they made you feel. Uber gave me some encouragement on the channel and things like that. So really, really, really nice guys. And if you ever get the opportunity to meet them, really do take it, because they were lovely. They really were lovely. So I'm just going to end this section now, and then we're going to head back downstairs to where the Razor bus was. So guys, after we headed back downstairs, we went and had a look around at the merchandise and everything else. We'd already been downstairs and looked at the merchandise before, because my daughter had bought a Team Vala basketball cap just so she could wind AliA and Clare up, because they're on Team Mystic. So she thought that'd be funny. We continued to have a look around. The queue for the Razor bus was a little bit too long, so we didn't jump on that, but I do have some information about that afterwards. And then I noticed a little stall just as you came through the door, that I recognised the name of. I'd seen them advertising on Facebook, and they are called Monria. They are a sci-fi game. Now, I played years and years and years ago, and I want to say about 8 years ago, a game called Entropia Universe, and that is what Maria is a part of. The best way I can think of to describe it to you guys would be an officially endorsed private server. So all the sales of anything that goes through the game go through Entropia as usual, but they're like an extra planet. So within Entropia, there are different planets you can play on, and this would be one of the planets. This section is probably going to be one of my longest, and there are two reasons for that. First of all, let me tell you that these guys are not sponsoring the video. They're not paying me to do this. I'm doing it because I want to, and there are a couple of reasons for that. One, I've played the game and I like it. I found it a little bit hard to get back into, but I am enjoying playing it again. And two, they are in the whole of Gamercon, there was a lot of corporations. There was PlayStation, there was Xbox, there's the Razer company, there's Alienware, there's all that sort of stuff, right? So these guys are kind of independent. So it'd be almost like a sole trader as opposed to a chain of supermarkets, right? And I think that the more support we can give to each other, the better the world is going to be. So for me, I have a, albeit very small, platform to help these guys grow their game. And I am more than happy to do that, because not only are they independent and they are working on it by themselves, all the improvements and stuff obviously that are made to the main game are incorporated into this as well, but they do their own individual stuff as well. And they're Irish. I mean, I'm not Irish, no, but I'm living in Ireland, so I may as well be. And I think that the more support we can give each other, the better. Second of all, when I approached the stall, the guy beamed a big smile, and I told him, I've tried this game. I saw it advertised on Facebook. I've played Entropia in the past. I really wanted to get into it, and I struggled. One of the owners of the planet was sat running a St. Patrick's Day event from his laptop while he was there talking to people, and started giving me advice, asking me questions and everything else. And then out of the corner of my eye while he's talking to me, I saw a very eager smile from a woman who was not much taller, and she might have been slightly shorter than me. I'm not very tall. Seemed very, very eager to engage with me. And when I spoke to her, her name was Kendra, and she was one of the owners of the planet, and she was so sweet. She was so sweet. She went out of her way to explain everything. She's like, sit at this computer, we'll give you a hand. She stood behind me. They were chatting away, and I was saying to them, while I was talking to them, I played Entropia in the past, and I want to say about 8 years ago. It was a long time ago. I played it in the past and I really, really enjoyed it, but I ran out of time to dedicate to it and it took a back seat. Now, when I went back to it later on, there'd been changes made and I couldn't wrap my head around it. But I can see from what I played then to what I was watching them play on the screen, what I was playing on the screen, the game engine's changed because they're now using the Cry 2 engine, which is awesome. And my daughter's about to come in and interrupt me. I know that's going to happen. The renders for the artwork is a lot higher. Everything is much smoother. There's no spidering. There's no stuttering in the movements. You can see that they've really tightened everything up. They were running a huge, huge event, and I was watching them run it and organise it. We were chatting about the organisation and everything else, about supporting each other, about life in general, and about the game. And these guys really do deserve a lot of support. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the game. Like I said, it's based on the Entropia universe. You can download it straight from these guys, or you can play Entropia universe by itself, but I would recommend probably this one. There's a little bit more in depth to it. So it says, Monria is a horror 3D MMORPG expanding upon the Cthulhu, I can never pronounce that, Cthulhu mythos and set in distant future. The Deep Space Extraction Corporation have discovered and claimed a new astronomical body, and they have found an ancient and incomprehensible evil. An evil so stealth that one is unaware of how subtle and pervasive the effects can be on one's mind until it's too late. Untold members of inhabitants have gone the way of the dark side and have become quite restless. The Church of Cthulhu and the Old Earth cult that legends say once devastated the universe present a mystery far too great for the DSEC to unravel alone. The struggle is unending, and efforts to thwart the invasion of sense and sanity only seem to give strength to the invisible entity that wants to inhabit our every thought. So the write-up there is, there's a lot of thought gone into the backstory of this planet, a lot of thought, and obviously a lot of research as well. I saw monsters coming at me that were absolutely enormous and some that were tiny. And I do plan to do I'm going to play the game for a while and then I want to do a review on it. So I'm not going to go too much into the gameplay because I'm still gameplaying through and recording little bits as I go, because I want to do a full video on that. The one thing that I do want to point out is that there is a real cash economy in this game. There always was in Entropia universe. So you can pay money in, but if you earn enough money in game, you can withdraw that money in dollars or pounds or sterling or whatever else, wherever you live, into your bank account. So you can actually earn money playing the game, but I don't think you're going to get rich from it. Some people do, but it's more luck than anything else. Never ever play a game just to make money. You should always play a game to enjoy it, and if you manage to make a little bit of money on the side, then it's awesome. It says it has a close-knit community group owned and run by veteran gamers. I know these guys are veteran gamers. I spent half an hour talking to them, and especially to Kendra in particular. I can tell that these are seasoned gamers. They know what they're talking about. We had chats about games long past that most of you guys have probably never even heard of, because I think they were around similar ages to me. They have a high activity and community initiative program supporting new and seasoned players alike. So they said to me, when you get on here, you join our chat channel, you shout help, say, you know, it's Gamer Mama, I met you guys at Gamercon, help, and we will be straight there. They would do that to any new player, you know, they will help. They have a dedicated chief fun officer who makes it their business to ensure that we don't disappoint. I can tell you from the bits I saw at their St. Patrick's Day event, this community manager does not disappoint. Does not disappoint. Everyone was having a blast. I was having fun watching it, and I didn't have a clue of what was going on half the time, but it was so much fun to watch. So I can guarantee you that you're gonna have fun. And then obviously there's information on this leaflet about Entropia Universe as well. If you download the game from the Monria website, I'm going to link that down below, then you are going to have the tag Monrian Born. I'm going to have to figure out how to get to this planet from where I am, and then I can chat to these guys. I'll probably just jump in the chat thing and shout, Kendra, help, how do I get to you guys? And then somebody will come and give me some advice or whatever else. But the reason that I've made this segment so long on its own is that I think these guys deserve the exposure. I think they deserve the plug. And I don't do that easily because obviously if you guys go and check it out and the game is garbage, that's going to reflect on my reputation as a YouTuber, and I'm still trying to build the channel. So I don't do shout outs very often, but I am prepared to give these guys a shout out because I think they deserve it. And not only have they worked bloody hard on this game, they are absolutely sweetheart people. They are so kind and so friendly, and they just went out of their way to make me feel welcome and, you know, to make me feel like I wasn't wasting their time, anything like that. They really were nice. So if you want to, I'll put the link down below and you can check them out. And if you just hop onto chat and say, hey guys, Gaming Mama recommended you, I've come to check you out, can anybody give me any advice? They will give you advice. Let them know that I've sent you, then they know that the plug's working, because that's how we're going to judge the feedback, is if you guys let them know that I've sent you. They can say to me, oh, we've had 2-3 new players this week that have seen it on your YouTube channel. I know that it's worked, because there's no point me doing shout outs if they're not going to work, right? So that's the way I want to play it. So Monria through Entropia Universe, check them out, guys, because they really are sweethearts. And having said that, now from this stall, we're coming to the end of the day. I spoke to some people about the Razor bus. I didn't get a chance to get on it myself, but I've heard a lot about it, and apparently there was a lot of very, very high spec gaming machines upstairs, and it was a lot of fun. I can't imagine it would be much fun driving around the city playing these games. I think I would probably feel very, very sick with the motion sickness, but the high spec games were there. And then I went over with my daughter to the vintage gaming section. Now, I was a little bit disappointed that in the vintage gaming section, I did not see an Atari and I did not see a ZX Spectrum Plus. So guys, if you're going to do vintage, let us do vintage properly. Like, we're talking Ataris, Commodores, and ZX Spectrums. If they are not there, you ain't doing vintage right. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's got to be said. Having said that, they had SNESes, they had the first Sega, Nintendo 64, they had arcade machines, proper old-fashioned arcade machines for the fighting games. I took my daughter on one of the very, very old-fashioned Pac-Man games, and I introduced her to a lot of the games that I would have played when I was a kid. And I was expecting her, as you would expect a kid who's grown up with gaming in the 2000s, to say, oh my god, these graphics suck. Oh my god, this is so lame. She thoroughly enjoyed every game I recommended for her to play. She really, really did. To the point that she knows I have a Nintendo 64 emulator on the PC and she wants to play Mario 64. She wants to play Crash Bandicoot. You know, Crash Bandicoot's not Nintendo 64. Crash Bandicoot would be on the PlayStation. But we have it. She wants to play Banjo-Kazooie. She wants to play those games because they look like fun. And yes, they're not the latest graphics or whatever else, but for the time, they were awesome. And I think it's important for any kid that's into gaming to know the history of where gaming came from. So that about concludes everything that we got up to in the several hours that we were there. I can honestly say I enjoyed it. There were a few issues. Like I've said, in my opinion, they sold way too many VIP tickets. I would have preferred to pay a bit more for the VIP ticket and for there to be less of them. They made the VIP ticket very accessible. It was like €16 extra on the price of the ticket. It was very accessible, and because it was very accessible, they sold a huge amount of them, and it backfired because the queues for the YouTubers were hours and hours long, and it shouldn't be that way. The whole point of a VIP ticket is to ensure that you get in. Well, people with a VIP ticket did get into the venue. They all got into the venue because we had a separate queue. But it's to ensure that you get into the venue as quickly and as smoothly as possible, and it's to ensure that you get to see your favourite YouTubers. We didn't because the queue was way too long, so I feel that while the VIP came into its own for getting into the building, the time we arrived, we would have got into the building anyway. So I kind of feel like I would have preferred to pay a bit more for it and have less of them sold. The queue for AliA was ridiculous. They should have had the meet and greet with him for a lot longer than they did if he'd have been up for that. Or severely limited and said, well, you know, you can pay an extra $3 to meet him or whatever. Some people won't do that. But the YouTubers that we did meet were lovely, really, really kind, really, really friendly. The majority of the staff were great. Some of the staff now were very obnoxious. Like, we were going up, we were sent to floor 4. We went to floor 4. You can't come here. There are people waiting on floor 3, and we have to be fair to everybody. But your man downstairs, or your man upstairs just sent us down here. Well, I'm telling you, you need to go downstairs. There was no need to speak to us like that. And excuse me, but, the queue's a bit longer than you expected, and it's down on the next floor. Would have sufficed. You don't need to be rude about it. I saw several people, there was exits only, and people were trying to go in through those exits only. And you had some staff saying, excuse me, the entrance is on the left-hand side. You're going to have to go over to the left-hand side. And you had others going, no entry, you have to go to the left. So, again, I think it just depends on who they've got working there. They need to address that, because I don't think there's any need to be rude to people. I mean, if you try to explain 3 times and they're not listening, then maybe you need to be a bit firmer. But just as a one-off, you don't need to do that. Having said that, when we left for lunch, we came back in and I noticed people were going through the front door. So I approached the security guard there and I said, we've already been inside. We left to go to lunch. Do I need to get back into the queue to go back inside the building? And he said, well, did you get your hand stamped? Bear in mind that we are in Ireland. And I said, no, I didn't get my hand stamped. He said, well, what are you like? And I just looked at him and went, I'm British. And he started laughing and he's like, I can't argue with that. Off you go inside. And, you had a real laugh and a giggle with him. So you had the really, really nice staff and then you had some that were a little bit snotty, which I think you're going to get everywhere. But when people have paid that amount of money and queued and they've got kids who are tired and stroppy and everything else, they don't need the added stress of you being rude to them. So just remember, you're there to do a job and you're there to be nice to people. You're in public service. You chose a job where you are serving members of the public, dealing with members of public on a daily basis. And if you haven't got the personality for that, then you're in the wrong job. That's my take on it anyway. The merchandise inside was overpriced, apart from the GameStop. I mean, the GameStop place wasn't overpriced because it was the same prices as they sell it for in the store. But the other stalls that were selling merchandise were definitely overpriced. You can get cheaper on the internet. And the only reason I gave in and let her buy a baseball cap at €25 for a baseball cap was because she wanted to wind the guys up. And she did wind Claire up with her baseball cap. So, to be fair, you can't really argue too much. But all in all, we had an absolutely amazing day, and I would definitely go back again next year. I know people were disappointed. I know people bought tickets and couldn't get in, and kids were left devastated and things like that. That was an oversale. They shouldn't have sold so many more tickets. If the venue can hold 7,000, why are you selling 25,000 tickets? That doesn't make any sense. I know you want your venue full to capacity at all times to make it profitable, but surely selling 14,000 or 15,000 tickets would do that. Because people obviously weren't leaving. There was so much in there to do. There were so many games for them to try. People didn't need to leave. I left for lunch because I wasn't going to queue up 45 minutes for a burger that wasn't very well made. We went to Subway down the road. So, I wasn't going to do that. I queued up for a coffee. It took 5 minutes. The coffee was fine and it was reasonably priced. For a venue, you'd expect to pay what I paid for it. You'd pay cheaper if you went to... Well, actually, it cost me more in Starbucks, to be fair. But if you went to a small independent cafe or something, you'd probably pay less for it. Starbucks cost me more on the way back from lunch because I didn't... You don't need to hear that story. So, all in all I can say is I did have a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And, I have a lot of highlights. I really do have a lot of highlights. I won't be opposed to going back next year. And I wouldn't be opposed to going back. I don't know whether I'd do the whole weekend. I might travel up one day, stay overnight. Do some shopping in Dublin, stay overnight, and then go to the venue the next morning. I don't think there would have been enough there, really, to cover the 2 days. I don't think there would have been. And next time we go, I will probably skip the panel with the YouTubers and go straight to the queue to meet them, just so it's done. Because the panel was basically questions and answers and watching the YouTubers play, which was interesting, don't get me wrong, but I think I would rather have met the YouTubers or met AliA, which is who we really wanted to see. So we would probably do that. But if you guys are around Ireland when it's on next year, I would recommend going. I know there's other people who wouldn't, but I would seriously recommend going. So I'm going to wrap this up right now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a new one for me. So if you have, don't forget to leave it a big thumbs up. Leave your comments in the comments box down below, including out of the 4 YouTubers that I mentioned, which one would you have wanted to see? Would you have wanted to see Jerome ASF? Would you have wanted to see Clare Siobahn, AliA, or Uberdanger? Who would have been your first choice? And I'm going to see you guys in the next episode of whatever I make. Ciao for now, guys.